All right, let's dive right in. We're talking about Beowulf today. And I know what you might be thinking, an ancient, kind of dusty poem from 1,000 years ago. But what if I told you this wasn't just a story? What you're looking at here, this is the blueprint. Seriously. Whether it's the superhero saving the city or the lone warrior in a sci-fi epic, the DNA of their journey, that epic clash against some monstrous unknown, it all traces back to this one story. This is like the original source code for courage in the face of darkness. And that's the real question, isn't it? Why does this ancient story, passed down by monks of all people, still have such a powerful grip on us? Well, that's what we're going to find out. We're going to uncover the secrets behind its power by exploring the three core battles, digging into the warrior's code, and facing the timeless fears that make Beowulf the ultimate monster slayer. To really get why this is such a big deal, you have to understand something huge. Before Beowulf, this kind of story, well, it just didn't really exist in Germanic literature. This was the first time an epic poem put a human champion squarely against something monstrous. It didn't just tell a story, it literally created the template for every hero who came after. Just imagine this poem's journey for a second. For centuries, it wasn't a book. It was a voice in a crowded mead hall, a story told around a roaring fire. It survived only on breath and memory before monks finally captured it in a single, precious manuscript. Think about that, from just a spoken tale to the foundational hero archetype we all know today. That is an incredible legacy. Okay, so at its heart, the poem's structure is actually pretty simple. It's built around three titanic struggles, three defining moments that test our hero in completely different ways. And this isn't just some random monster of the week thing. Each battle digs deeper into what it truly means to be a hero. So here's the lineup. First, Beowulf faces Grendel, a creature of pure hate, an outsider who can't stand the very sound of human joy. But beating him, that only awakens something worse, his mother, driven not by random evil, but by a primal, terrifying grief. And then, decades later, when he's an old king, Beowulf has to face the dragon, a symbol of greed and, really, the embodiment of his own mortality. Each fight isn't just a new monster, it's a much deeper test. And this really gets to the core of the poem. It's not just about one guy versus some monsters. It's a battle between two completely different worlds. You've got Herohert, the Great Hall. It's a symbol of light, community, order, everything good. And then you have the swamp, the darkness, the chaos, the unknown that wants to tear it all down. So Beowulf isn't just saving people, he's defending the very idea of civilization itself. So what kind of person willingly steps into that darkness? Well, to understand Beowulf, you have to understand the code that drove him. This was never just about brute strength. It was about embodying the absolute ideal of a Germanic warrior.
This quote from the poem itself says it all. I mean, just listen to that contrast. He was the most generous, the most gentle, and yet the most yearning for glory. That last part is so key. That hunger for a lasting reputation, for your name to echo through the ages, that was the engine driving this guy. He's a hero of extremes, perfectly balancing loyalty to his people with this ferocious desire for immortal fame.
Okay, let's break this code down a bit. First, courage is everything. Fleeing a fight was, and I mean this, literally, a fate worse than death. Second, absolute loyalty. Beowulf travels to a whole other country to help a king simply because that is his sacred duty. And third, and this is probably the most important part, glory is immortality. In a world with no guaranteed afterlife, the only way to live forever was in the songs people sang about you. Your reputation, that was your soul.
Now, let's flip this around and look at the other side of that battle line. Because the monsters in this story, they're not just creatures. They're basically mirrors, reflecting the deepest, darkest anxieties of the Anglo-Saxon world. They are what people feared most, just given flesh and teeth.
Think about what they really represent. Grendel, he's the terror of being an outcast, exiled from the warmth of the hall, hating you for the community you have. His mother is the embodiment of the blood feud, that cycle of revenge that could just tear a whole kingdom apart. And the dragon? That's the fear that a kingdom's very prosperity is fragile. It's also the final battle every single hero must eventually lose, the fight against death itself. So we've seen the battles, we've looked at the hero's code, and we've faced the monsters that reflect their deepest fears. When you weave all these threads together, you get the poem's timeless message, the real reason it has survived for over 1,000 years, and it all revolves around one powerful central concept.
And that concept is word. Now, we often translate it as fate, but it's so much more active than that. It's not about being some passive victim of destiny. No, word is the path that's laid out for you, and your heroism is measured by how you walk it. Beowulf knows he will probably die fighting that dragon, but he faces it anyway. To meet your destiny with courage, that is the final greatest heroic act.
At the end of the day, the poem's power really boils down to these core themes. It's about that eternal struggle to create order out of chaos. It's about how loyalty and honor are the glue that holds a society together. And maybe above all, it's about that burning desire for a legacy, the belief that a life lived with courage can echo forever.
You see, Beowulf achieved immortality because his story was worth telling. His deeds were worthy of a song. And that kind of leaves us with a final question to chew on. In our world of fleeting digital moments and just endless data, what stories will we leave behind? What will our legacy be?